high school student accused of killing a woman after finding out she was transgender.
Your thoughts? What?
Prosecutors say he was so enraged, he returned to the crime scene twice.
18-year-old Orlando Perez booked on a first-degree murder charge. The crime dates back to the morning of May 31st, when prosecutors say he met up with 37-year-old Selena Reyes Hernandez. She took Perez to her basement apartment where Reyes Hernandez revealed she was transgender. Police say Perez admitted to the murder. He apparently left, but he, quote, kept seeing her face and it kept bothering him, and he was mad as hell. That's when prosecutors say he came back with a gun and shot her in the head and back. He left, but returned again, firing more bullets into her chest, neck, and hand.
This is outrageous. Right to jail, right away.
The victim's family heard noises from the upper level of the Marquette Park home. They later found her dead. The case was solved quickly by accessing video from neighbors' homes. Cameras that picked up the suspect's distinct clothing. It matched video taken moments earlier on the victim's phone, police using it to find Perez at his South Side home. There, they recovered a 9mm handgun and 2 magazines.
See now, that's really fucked up. Now, I want to be fair here, right? If, first of all, forget what gender who anybody is. You're 37 years old and you're pursuing high school students. That means he's 17 or 18.
That's true.
Now, 17 might be the age of consent in your state, so that's fine. But I would question, what would people's opinion of this be if this was a 37-year-old man trying to get with a 17-year-old girl? What would your opinion of that be?
True.
Would you say it's weird? Would you say it's predatory behavior?
Yes.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
Because it seems like a little bit like that to me. That's step one, right? Now, step two is we don't know from the report that we saw. Maybe I'll look this up and I'll figure out more information. But we don't know whether they engaged in any sexual activities, right? Now, if you go back to somebody's crib after meeting up with them, right? I mean, after, doing whatever, when y'all was out on a date, whatever, chances are maybe a kiss happened, maybe some groping, some sexual behavior occurred, and some sexual talk was happening, and some things were thought to be happening in the future, and that's what we were going to do when we went to the house, right? That, I'm sure that was the atmosphere that was going on, even though we may not be able to confirm exactly who touched what where, right?
Right.
Now, when we get to the house, after that atmosphere, and you reveal that you're trans, aka you either now or used to have a penis, and I'm a man that doesn't deal with persons sexually who now or ever had penises, now you've put this person in a really weird situation. You have created a situation where you have essentially gender-bended this child against his will. Yeah. And fucked his entire head up. Now, if you stop the story there, whose fault is that? Who should we say is responsible for that? Because you're 20 years older than him. Yep. You know that straight men generally don't really be with that.
It's a form of manipulation.
You've manipulated him.
It's a form of manipulation. And then when we sit back and actually look at, like he said, if the roles were reversed, who would be in trouble?
What would you say?
Who would be in trouble
right.
if the man manipulated the girl?
Right. What would be the narrative? Right? What would that's what I want to know. Tell me what the social media, what the internet news narrative would be. But now, okay. So the first issue here is obviously that I don't think he did anything to her when he found out. He left.
Yeah.
So first of all, that's first-degree murder. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? Now, if you do something like that to someone right at that moment, you're likely to get a heat of passion defense. Right? Reduce your first or second-degree murder charge to potentially manslaughter. Now, I don't think there's ever been a case. Usually it involved catching your spouse cheating or some shit like that.
Because your emotions just enrage
but
right
this,
then and there.
I don't think they've ever had a case like this, but if they have, I'm sure this one would set precedent for that, where they would allow a heat of passion defense. Because you thought you was going to do something straight. Turns out you're doing something gay or something borderline, depending on what's going on. And it's happening against your will because you didn't know.
especially because that's not part of your preferences,
Right.
not something that you're attracted to.
So that may be the situation I believe this man's gonna be in, because he's a student, but the fact that he's probably being charged means that you can charge someone as young as like 15 as an adult, I think. So like if he's 17 or 18, you're definitely getting charged as an adult. You're getting charged first degree murder. Now we really have to look at what happened here, because why did she do this? That's what I want to know. I'm sorry we're sorry that this happened to her. This should never have happened to her. He's clearly guilty of first degree murder and should go to jail, right?
Absolutely.
So don't think I'm saying he shouldn't go to jail. He should go to jail right now and possibly get the death penalty.
Right.
But more than likely they probably won't, based on the circumstances. However, and heated passion shouldn't be available because you went home, got your gun, and came back. That's first degree murder. And then you came back again and mutilated the body. That's actually insane. So you're wilding, but.
Yeah.
You're wilding big time. So don't think I'm saying his son is not wilding. Son is bugged the fuck out. That's an insane thing to do. Right? But if he had instead, right when he was told, immediately engaged in wild fisticuffs, I feel like he would have been justified. Because no way I'm out with someone who I think is a woman. I come back home and I found out you now are used to have a dick, and I don't fuck with that. And you did that against my will. Because I remember we had a video of a bitch saying, I don't believe I should have to tell anybody.
Yeah,
and I guarantee that this person had that same thought process.
That's crazy.
Feel like I don't have to tell anybody. Except for that, you're removing my ability to make choices for myself when I don't have all the information.
Yep.
And when you pretend, like just because you got that cut off, that now you're the same as someone who was born with a pussy, and you think that I should adopt that same rationale, and therefore you shouldn't have to tell me, that's not how this works.
Because you're not doing yourself a service regardless.
Not at all. You're putting yourself in danger.
Because if they end up finding out nonetheless, they're going to be enraged.
Yep.
So
especially as we said, if y'all did anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then how does a straight man rationalize that in his head? Right? You literally drove this kid fucking insane. And the fact that he's a child, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, while I feel sorry that this happened because it shouldn't have, again, you're guilty of first degree murder, getting to jail, but you put yourself in this scenario. You created the scenario that caused this to happen to you. And then it's not surprising. Let us know what you think in the comments about this, because is a fucked up thing to happen, but not necessarily surprising, and it's as a result of behavior that people tell you time and time again you shouldn't engage in. Tell people the information they need to know.
Because even if they weren't, in this situation where it wasn't a trans person, whatever, and it was just two people getting to know each other, you want to know each other, so you disclose everything about each other at the time where you feel comfortable and everything else like that. But you still disclose these things.
I mean, respect people's boundaries, bro.
You want to get to know somebody, so you have to disclose things.
Right.
That's part of it.
Right.
And that's being part of it.
Right.
So you can't hold that information back. Whether or not you're trans or not, they have the right to know because you're trying to get to know that person.
They have a right to know because they have a right to decide who they want to sleep with.
Right.
And you're concealing relevant information.
Right.
Now, the only argument against that is that the information is not relevant, which means that I am ordered to adopt the philosophy that you are the same as a woman who was born with a pussy. I don't believe that. So therefore, I'm not required to adopt that philosophy. Therefore, you are required to tell me the information I need to know so I can make the decisions I need to make.
Right.
Like I said, let us know what you think in the comments.